Alright folks, the original plan was to hike up Meall buoy today, but on account of the snow, that plan went tits up. So here's a short video of a short hike up the nearby Corbett instead. Of which I'm not even going to try and pronounce the Gaelic name of, because they didn't teach us Gaelic in Perthshire schools, we got French instead, which was a crying shame really. There was no real desperation to get up a Munro today. Thought it would have been nice to go a bit further and get another one in the bag. I really just wanted to spend a bit of quality time with Jin. Last year I got a wee red Labrador to bring on as my main deer dog. His name is Buck, he'll be a year in March and he's taken to his job like a duck takes to water. I work in deer management and require dogs to track deer that have either ran or fallen into thick cover after the shot. And though Jin comes to work and does find deer, she's not the most reliable. She'll find deer, but she won't wait with the carcass or make much of an indication that it's there. She's also coming up for 6 this year, and though she's got years of adventures and hikes with me left in her yet, I've got more years of work than she has working years left, and so it was a good time to bring on another dog. Jin, however, didn't think so. When he was just a tiny pup, she kinda tried to eat him. Now he's bigger than her, and the wee tart has realised he's actually a boy. She'll cuddle and play with him, but she's still not 100% on board with the company. And understandably so, it's been just me and her for the last 5 years, and this past year a lot of time and energy has gone into training Buck. She's probably felt a bit hard done by. Buck is still a bit young for big hikes. I want to wait until he's fully grown before I drag him up mountains, so he's off on a play date with another young Labrador called Klaus, who seems to be his best pal at the moment. Today it's just Jin and I going for a hike together, like the old times. It was nice to see red deer up close again. I work with Roe and Sika now, and though both species are incredible, I always have a soft spot for reds. They feel ancient, like a piece of the past here in the flesh. These hills lie at the end of Glen Lyon, a place described by Sir Walter Scott as the longest, loneliest and loveliest glen in Scotland. And it really is a special place. There's a real patchwork of habitat throughout the glen and a strong rural community that lives here. Down below, riparian woodlands run alongside the River Lyon, and so too do grazing pastures, where various ground nesters can often be seen in the spring. Sitka plantations and native woods sporadically flank the open hill, and at the furthest reach of the glen there's a beautiful regenerating Scots pine forest, not to mention the numerous ponds and lochans that support freshwater and wetland species. It's early February and it's blowing a hoolie, so all I've seen today is some roe deer, a red deer, a blackbird, a few mallards and a few ravens. But in previous visits to the glen, I've seen a vast array of wildlife. My last hike here was across the 4 Munros further down the glen, and it was in the spring. It was a still, brisk day and I saw curlews, a golden eagle, an emperor moth, golden plovers and a fox. A few years ago I tagged along to a couple of the hound days here, in which I saw countless songbirds, red squirrels, roe deer, a hen harrier, a pine marten, and a lesser spotted huntsman, which I do believe is an endangered species these days. I also remember my first visit to the glen, walking along the banks of the River Lyon and seeing all the salmon carcasses from the spawning. When you drive up the long single track that runs through the glen, it is unlikely that you won't see rooks, buzzards, hares, or a tawny owl if you happen to be there in the morning. The variety of life here is quite something, but it is no surprise really. Many of the deer stalkers and gamekeepers who work within this glen genuinely care about the native wildlife and truly lean into their roles as custodians of this land. They're a fine example of how keepers should be, honestly invested in the health of the ecosystems upon their estates. Overall, the glen is a good example of how land uses such as farming, commercial forestry and country sports can coexist with habitat regeneration. But that's one hour of a nuanced topic, and this is a chilled out hiking video, so let's avoid a 4-hour ramble and make some small talk about the weather instead. Though the morning was pretty nice, there was a fairly strong wind on down in the glen, and so I knew it was going to be a lot stronger the higher up we went. It was forecasted to come in shit in the afternoon, so the plan was to get up as quickly as I could and see if the snow was shallow enough to do the Munro, and if so, get up and back down before the bad weather came in. Meall is a relatively easy Munro to do in summer conditions, but it's a different kettle of fish when the snow is shin to knee deep. I'm used to being out working on these kind of hills in adverse weather, a lot more adverse than this, and I'm a fairly experienced winter hiker, but I urge people, if you don't know, don't go. That's not to say don't go full stop. If you want to take up winter hiking, ease yourself into it. Learn how to navigate wet and frozen terrain, know your limits, and if you have a dog, know their limits. Also, know what kind of snow you can and can't mess with. Avalanches and hypothermia aren't just things that happen to other people. They can easily happen to you. It's important to respect these hills, especially so in winter. When I reached the top of the Corbett, I was greeted with clouds the same colour as a good bruise, coming in from beyond the Munro. You know that dark grey with a hint of purple hue? Yeah, the kind of clouds that say you're going to get wet. And so between the foreboding weather and Jin getting a bit fed up of being sandblasted by the ice on the wind, I decided that the Munro could wait until another day and headed back down. A decision that Jin seemed to appreciate. If you haven't already noticed, my Collie is a little fat at the moment. Since getting buck, she's become possessive over food, and turns out the little bugger knows how to open the food bin. She's still got a tuck stomach, but she's wider than she should be. Nothing a year of hills can't fix, however. I'm really looking forward to this year. Well, the rest of it. I've just done my first full year of being self-employed, and though it wasn't easy to begin with, things have come pretty good for me. When I started, I had no savings, and due to this being a pay-to-play kind of job in terms of consumable expenses, i.e. diesel and bullets, it was hard to keep my head above water. But I've worked like a navvy these past 12 months, and now I'm on dry land. I have enough savings to see me through the quiet time of year, which will allow me to take some time to work on both my dog's health and my own health, and also work towards my literary, because I'm totally bloody literate, and personal goals such as my mountain leader and this YouTube channel. I hope the voiceover for this video wasn't too monotone. Turns out I naturally speak at about 1,000,000 miles a minute, so I've tried to slow myself right down and pronounce my words properly so that this video is coherent. I'm sure I'll get better at it over time. In the meantime, however, I hope you enjoyed this short video of a short hike up a hill whose name I can't pronounce. And stay tuned for similar content at some point. Maybe.